Hey everyone, Florida Man here. This video is going to be a ramble. It's going to be thoughts that I have, thoughts about what's going on back in my home country, back in the US, with President Trump and his foreign policy ideas. I know some people are not going to like what I have to say about this stuff. Some of my supporters, they probably have positive views of Trump and what he's trying to do. I definitely do not share those views, and I've struggled to think about what should I do or what can I do that is the most productive and the most beneficial way for me to do, what I do here in Ukraine. And I thought, maybe I should not talk too much about what's going on back home. But I can't do this in good consciousness anymore, where his foreign policy is pretty much in direct violation for what I kind of believe in and why I'm here in Ukraine. So I'm trying to figure where's the best point to start at. The best point to start at, it's like, who is this for? If you already think Trump's crazy and you think he's a madman, you're just wasting your time watching my video. All right, you already know this. I'm trying to reach to people who kind of don't fully comprehend what Trump is trying to do in the U.S. right now. And this is what this video is going to be about, what I believe Trump is actually trying to do when it comes to foreign policy right now. And is drastic change from any foreign policy from any previous Democratic or Republican president. He's not being hawkish. This is not just being hawkish. This is being bellicose. This is being, what is the word? A jingo. This is jingoist policy at its best. This is something that Andrew Jackson would do. All right, this presidency can be a really nasty one, guys. And for those that are immediately going to type, it's a negotiation strategy. It's a negotiation strategy. Look, if your negotiation strategy is like the Mongols, and you say, look, you either play ball with us or else we're going to pillage, rape, and burn everything you have. On one hand, that threat means nothing if you don't actually oppose it. But on the other hand, who the fuck wants to be a Mongol, Sorry, Mongols, if I have any Mongol viewers, and you view Genghis Khan as, I know he's like your founding father and all, but that fucker was brutal, all right? Gosh, there's so many angles to try to approach this from. I'm trying to figure what's the best angle to approach this from. So I'm going to try to approach it from what I studied in college. Let's say this. What is Trump trying to do? Let me say what I think Trump is trying to do. And obviously this is a guess. I am not Trump. I'm not his advisors. I'm not his foreign affairs advisors. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I don't think Trump's making his foreign policy. I really don't think he is. I know it's crazy. I know his foreign policy ideas are crazy. What's happening in Gaza, what he wants to do in Gaza. I don't think he's the one actually making these ideas, because he's good at reading people. And this has always been my biggest question about Trump is, does he know what he is? As in, like, a lot of people on the left would call him stupid. But he has skills. He has some very particular skills that he's really good at. And I'm trying to understand, is he aware of them or not? Because from my point of view, it seems like he's very short-sighted, short-term, and it's very immediate things he's trying to get, which tells me he's not good. Like, I imagine that guy would not be good at chess. Let's say that. I don't think he's good at chess. All right. I don't think, I think most people would probably agree. He probably doesn't seem like a good chess player. I don't think that guy can plan far ahead and foresee what's going to happen in the future. All right. So I'm just thinking, all right, who's coming up with these ideas? Because it's starting to take shape, and I think I see what's going on here. And what it seems like the U.S. current foreign policy is that it wants to become an autarky. If you need to know, what is an autarky? An autarky is a self-sufficient country where basically it has all the resources it needs to be self-sufficient and doesn't need other countries. And over time, this has become harder and harder to get because we need more and more different materials, technology, and supplies. And this is basically been the founding principle of why democracies work and why we play together with other people, is because we cannot be self-sufficient. And you look into any dictatorship, authoritarian regime, what is like one of the first things they try to do? It's become an autarky. They try to become an autarky because by becoming an autarky, you're no longer at the whims of other nations and you can do your own foreign policy as you choose. And so in a way, it's like, this is a way for us to be nasty. Trump wants to control Canada. He talks about invading it. This is like I'm kind of want to see that rubber hit the road with what Trump is. Trump wants to invade Canada, Greenland, and take over Gaza. The manpower. This is absurd. I mean, sorry, this is a tangent to go on, but what about the manpower? This is Hitler's sort of like, I want to take over everything, and like, we don't have the German army to take over. Our military has been, it's nowhere near to do something like this. It's absurd to believe that we have the capacity, and I'm waiting for people to call this bluff. But sorry, let's get back onto it. Why does Trump want Canada? And I think that hot mic moment from Trudeau, which pretty much spelled it out, is that he wants our resources. This guy wants our resources. He wants to put on tariff. Trump wants to put on tariff on everyone else. Trump wants the autarky. He basically says he wants the U.S. to be self-sufficient. He wants Greenland for the minerals. I don't believe bullshit about setting military bases there, because we already got military bases. And you're afraid of China doing something. Oh, all right, yeah, that could be an issue. But then, we play the ball. We play the game. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be the better guy. We don't enforce. This isn't colonial era. We're like, all right, it's either the French controller or the British controller. So we got to go in there with our guns, shoot a couple people, put a minister in charge, and then at least the French don't have. That's bullshit. All right, we're past that. We're past that sort of bullshit in the U.S. All right, we don't need to do it that way. It's not efficient. It's brutal. It's nasty, and it leads to very long-term problems. All these things Trump is thinking about. He is talking about causing long-lasting, horrible issues. I mean, think about war with Canada. How drastically that would change North America history and future history for the next century. Conflicts are not easily resolved. Conflicts are easily started. You can easily ruin friendships. You can ruin long-standing friendships with violence. Violence can lead to very long-lasting problems. All right. And it's just absurd that we find that this is okay. That I find that my fellow Americans think that this is okay, that they don't understand that this is a problem. This is a real problem, guys. And that's why I'm trying to reach out to those people in the U.S. because at some points you're like, all right, we need unity. We need get behind the president. I'm quite for that generally in most cases, especially when it comes to foreign policy. We need to all kind of work together. We can have our disagreements, but I think there's going to be a moment now, guys. You need to decide. You need to decide where that line is. I know where my line is, all right? But I think too many people have given Trump no red line. They give him full faith. You give him full faith, complete faith in everything this man is doing. I'm going to ask you sincerely, what was one thing he did wrong? All right, if you're a Trump supporter, write down your comment. What did he do wrong once? One time he did something wrong and you think it was a bad thing he did. That man has never apologized. That man has never done anything to give any sort of... It's hard. It's hard to see this happening to your country. I came to Ukraine to stop this sort of shit. I came here to help stop this sort of shit, and it's happening back home. And we can stop it against Russia because Russia is an inept, oligarchic, corrupt country, and it failed. We all thought it was going to steamroll Ukraine. But then we find out these systems suck, guys. These systems suck. What's happening in the U.S. is going to really suck. Not even the foreign policy. I don't want to get into the domestic stuff about what Musk is doing. I don't even try to read what's happening in the Treasury because I hate to say it, it's kind of me putting my head in the sand. I'm in Ukraine. I don't got time to start stressing about what they're doing long-term wise in the U.S. to our federal government. That's going to cause long-lasting problems. I tell you one, the foreign aid thing, that sucks. That's a whole other video talking about foreign aid. But this video is talking about foreign policy in regards to a bellicose, militaristic view of things. He wants to commit war crimes in Gaza. There is no humane way to do that. There's no humane way to relocate 2 million people against their will. All right? Stop making excuses for this fucker. All right? Stop making excuses. This man... he is going to lead you down a horrible place. And this is something I wish our history teachers, I wish, you know what? I blame liberals. I do blame liberals. I do blame liberals a good bit for a good bit of shit. The deconstruction of our history, I think liberals going to a liberal college and understanding that I understand that our history was very flawed, very bad, and we had a very picturesque view, and we try to, and that's kind of the point. I've thought about, like, what's the point of history lessons? The point of history lessons is kind of propaganda. History lessons are propaganda if you think about it. I mean, in some cases, yes, there's a factual event that happened, but then, like, what is the lesson we tell our kids? What is the lesson we tell our students? And I think we've done a horrible job about, like, we kind of just destroyed any narrative. And then we kind of just said, oh, let's find all these cool, interesting, small stories. And, like, we didn't have a cohesive narrative for all of us to understand. And that goes to, like, World War II. And I think one narrative that we got to understand, that we got to teach people, is about the price of fascism. And not for the other people, but for the people inside that country that let it happen. For the Japanese people. And for the Germans, all right? The Japanese had to get nuked twice. If one nuke, and I know people are going to start arguing about bullshit about the Russians, about the U.S. trying to get something to make sure the Russians didn't invade. Look, we had to bomb those guys twice. And then we've had fire bombings. We forced so much horrific suffering on the Japanese because their leadership was on another plane of existence, pretty much. They were so detached from what was going on to their people, the suffering, that they could not, they allowed their people to suffer so bad. It's their own people, it was the Japanese government. We could not allow a Japanese empire to survive after. And that's the thing, you can't allow these regimes to exist afterwards, because they're just going to commit the same atrocity again. You can't allow them to exist afterwards. Once they've crossed that line, that regime needs to go. That's Putin. I'm there. Putin needs to go, A reason why I believe the U.S. hasn't sent all the weapons and to, kick Russia out is because they're afraid of a regime change in Russia. They're afraid of the instability that would cause. But on my hand, I believe that's, it's the risk we take. Putin needs to go. We cannot allow the belief that authoritarians can exist because they are too big and too important to the stability of everything else. No, and that's partly it's because people are going to think with the U.S. And I think the lesson needs to be, no, it's going to be horrible. It's going to be ugly, but they need to go. And that's the problem. That's the problem we need to face, that, it's a disease. It's a cancerous problem. You need to get it early. You need to deal with it early. It's going to suck. It's not going to be nice, but you need to deal with it early. Berlin, I think of the rape of Berlin. No one talks about the rape of Berlin in American history. I mean, the Germans got their comeuppance, pretty much. They committed atrocities across Eastern Europe into Russia, and the Russians gave it right fucking back to them. Mass rape, murder, slaughter, mayhem. Germany was left in ruins. And that needs to be the point, that there is a price at the end of all this. When you let madmen, people with these absurd ambitions, take power and take control of things. And that's just, I wish, you got to draw a line early. That's the only thing I could think of, is that the U.S. doesn't have the military to actually do this. We probably have a military to muddle about in Gaza for a good bit, and to cause some horrible, horrific problems, and to worsen relations, and to just stir the pot and make things worse there. Canada, no. There's just no way. It's a big-ass country. It's a big-ass country, guys. It's not one state. It would be like 5, 6 states. And yet again, guess what? Who the fuck are they going to vote for? You think they're going to vote for Trump? Come on, guys. Let's think here. It's not going to. It's going to be a Commonwealth. It's going to be Puerto Rico. There you go. Canada's going to be Puerto Rico. It's going to be a Commonwealth. You're going to call them. You're going to misidentify them as, immigrants, non-U.S. citizens. Come on, guys. Think about this. This is absurd. You guys, I think that's the problem. We want simple answers. We all want simple answers. This world is getting complex. It's getting horrible. It's getting dirty. We have a lot of fear now. There's so many new things coming out. The AI, it's depressing. I understand, guys, but this isn't the answer. All right, this isn't the answer. All right, I think that's a good ramble and rant about foreign policy, autarkies. This is what I studied in college, so it's just, you see the writing on the wall with this. you know, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. You might say, well, what about this and that? It's just, guys, this man it's playing right from the playbook. This is his game plan. It seems like he wants to secure resources so he can be independent from others and he can do what he wished. And then, you know, you don't have to deal with anyone else. And that's a very scary thought. It's a scary thought about Superman becoming like a villain. You know, it's like Injustice League. It's a good comic book series if anyone's interested. It's a good thing to think about. It's like, all right, what do we actually do? The most powerful nation kind of becomes a fascist regime. So yeah, guys, that's a bit of a downer. Sorry about that, but this is the state of the world now. For me right now, just a quick update. Finished the drones. I got some videos to still make. I'm heading to Lviv soon. I got some work there to do at an orphanage. Everything else is going good. My body feels better. I think winter is getting closer to it. I mean, it's like -7 right now, but still, I'm surviving. So, you know, hopefully once winter's over, I can start working on my next project. And it's figuring out what my next project is. I'm still not exactly sure what I want to do next, but that's it for Florida Man, guys. Stay safe out there.